Hi, and welcome back to Become Your Child's Best Teacher. I'm Jennifer Ransom, your educator, trainer, and coach. Today I want to talk about the importance of play. I want to talk about the facts and the research behind the importance of play and how you can help your children engage in play, especially that summer's here. Today I want to start by talking about two books that I highly recommend. Brain Rules for Baby. This is 0 through 5, and then Brain Rules for Children and Adults. I'll do some book reviews on these later in a couple months, but I want to give you some highlights right now. We've got, hooray for play. So here are some findings. Studies show that compared with other children, kids are allowed to, when given specific types of open-ended play, this is what happens. So more creativity happens. They're coming up with different ways to use specific objects when they're learning to play and do imaginative play. Better language, so they're talking with adults, they're talking with other children while they play. And vocabulary builds that way, right? Better problem solving. So if deciding rules for a game, figuring out what happens if someone breaks the rules, and being able to navigate between different personalities and things like that. The social skill aspect is huge. Less stressed out kids, so when they're playing when they're younger and getting that opportunity and doing that frequently throughout the day, it provides a brain break as well as providing an outlet for kids, right? They need to get out and move their bodies, and that's what stimulates the brain. I'll talk about that a little bit more as well. They have better memory. So play situations, memory scores seem to go up. That pretend play aspect and building vocabulary as well. And then social skills. So this is a huge area. And this is why it's important to, if you have a child, just one right now, make sure you're doing play dates, make sure you're out at the park, make sure you're getting children involved with other children, and even in daycares or in early childhood or preschool. This is why it's so important to have kids go to preschool. Even though it's not federally mandated, it's very important for kids to be able to learn and play in an environment that's set up to stimulate their brains. So, let's see here. Here's another one. So now I'm telling you all the things that are good. So here's some activities that hurt early learning. Just overexposure to television is one. Learned helplessness, so that's feeling like they can't solve their own problems and they have to come to you to solve anything, or and then also being sedentary, so not moving. So that takes me into his next book, and he has a whole chapter on exercise. And so the number one rule is that exercise boosts brain power, right? And our brains were built originally, way back when, to walk 12 miles a day, okay? So our brains need to be stimulated by movement. It improves your thinking skills, and it gives blood to your brain, glucose for energy levels, and oxygen to soak up everything left over. And then it gives the proteins for creating the connections in the brain that are developing when children are 0 through 5 and on, right? There was this really interesting fact I found out from a doctor at Harvard University. His name is Dr. Shankoff, and he's an expert in brain development. And he says that 700 is a big number. 700 is the amount per second that the brain is making synapses. Those are those connections between areas of the brain in the first 5 years of development. So that just tells you how important it is that kids are making connections every single second. So everything that you're doing, you need to be talking to your kids, you need to be playing with them, modeling with them, having them interact with other children and other adults. This is why even just when babies are infants, the close touch, the sensory input that they get from crawling around and exploring the world literally sets brain milestones into motion. I'm going to So I have one more book review coming out soon. At the end of June, and then in July I'm going to do a book review by Dr. Robert Melillo. He's done amazing research in terms of the brain and a lot of the disorders that we find that are what's called functional disconnections in the brain. So it's not that children with autism or Tourette's or some of these other brain-based issues are not that the brain is actually not functioning. It's that the brain is normal, but the firings are not going off at the right time. So you have kids who are behind in milestones or not being able to progress further because they have not learned the foundational skill to be able to move on. So this is a really exciting book. I'll list all the books in the description, and then check out my video later on. I'll attach it to this video once I've created it. So just so important in these first 5 years, especially that you're getting your kids outside. You're getting them to play in lots of different opportunities, working with different adults, different children, and that human-to-human interaction is key, okay? There was a study, again, by Dr. Shankoff at Harvard, and he was saying that even by 18 months, you can start to see the differences in early academic skills just based on watching a child play. So and that you want to create rich learning environments for your students. You want to be able to, at home, have things to play with, get them away from the TV. There was an interesting quote I read that basically there's a myth out there. Let me find this. It's so cool. There's so many myths out there in terms of what you should be doing with your kids, shouldn't be doing with your kids, or the fads that are going on. And one of these was really interesting. So this myth says, exposing your infant or toddler to language DVDs will boost his or her vocabulary. Well, okay, that is a myth. So the truth is that some DVDs actually reduce a toddler's vocabulary. It's true that the number and variety of words they use when talking can boost the baby vocabulary and his IQ, but words have to come from you and a real life human being. Just sitting them in front of the TV, in front of the DVD is not the way that they learn. They have to interact directly with objects, with people, with games and things like that. I remember as a kid, I absolutely loved having game night with my family, and we would learn to play different games, different rules, acting things out, playing Pictionary, playing Trouble, and some of those other skills that are teaching academics as well as communication, turn taking, give and take, right? And also the limits. How far can you push? Where are the boundaries? What are the rules of a game? And those types of things structure how that they approach academics later on in life. Play is a huge predictor of success, as well as reading, building vocabulary, social skills, all those important things that transfer later on into life. So I hope you found some of these facts interesting, and that you're understanding more of the importance of play and how you do that, right? It's summertime. Get out there, play with different modalities, get in the sand, get in the water, climb trees, use lots of different, make things, do art projects, play games. These are great ways of interacting with your children one-to-one. They don't take a lot of time, and also giving them time for ample open play. So giving them a bunch of toys to hang out and play with, or that imaginative play, right? The supermarket stuff, or taking them out into the community to actually see how the playthings they're playing with work in the real world. So hope you found this training helpful, and I look forward to talking to you next week. And make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you liked this, and let me know what other trainings you would like to hear about, what are topics that are important to you as a parent. I would love to hear. So until next time.